It'll save you having to sit there. I think it's now recording. Yes. Okay. So let me go back out. All right. The view is a little bit different. There. So remember, we started by logging into SEBA. Then we went to Resources, Forms, ZipFormsPlus. When I clicked on that, it opened ZipFormsPlus site. When you do it, it's actually going to prompt you for the username and password. My machine's cookied, so it's already there. Once you're logged in, you're just going to click on this box. It's going to take you into your folder of transactions. So you're going to write more than one offer. You can keep them all in here. You can edit them. You can copy them. It's a pretty good site. So you're going to fill in the contacts. I'm just going to show you how to add the documents, right? We're going to go over here to Add Doc. And it's going to open up a window that gives you a variety of places. So if you had stuff on your machine you wanted to upload, you could. Form means their library of forms. So that's where we're going to spend most of our time. All right. So all I did was type in the word business, or started to type the word business. It automatically narrowed down the filters to just that. So there's business opportunities where you're just buying a business, and then there's business opportunities where there's real estate included. Yours is just business, right? You also, because they don't own the building, you want them to assign the lease, right? So we're going to add that. Feasibility is already going to be in there. Do you need financing or things like that? Okay, so let's close out. Actually, let me just show you.
If we want, then again, we're going to search these templates.
Yep, there's like, these are more residential examples, but you know, whether you want utilities to be transferred through escrow or FIRPTA, you know, Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act disclosures, stuff like that. Everything's in there. It just doesn't all apply to you necessarily.
So is there any checklist you go against it?
I'm going to show you the checklist. There's also, this is just a blank addendum. So if you said, we want, like we were talking about the shadowing, right? We want to have the opportunity during our feasibility to come in and shadow. So let's go ahead and add that, just because that's unusual language. And all that form is a bunch of blank lines, so we can put whatever the heck we want on it. So now these are in your folder, and you literally click on them to open them up and edit them.
Okay.
All right? Now you're a pretty savvy businessman, so I'm going to skim through it, but you run into anything you're not sure about, just call or text me, okay? So you're going to figure out the price and all the things that you want to do. You're going to have some form of earnest money. We talked a little bit about that, so you and Alan can determine how much you want that to be. It's going to ask you things like, how do you intend to close? Are you going to use cash? Are you going to use financing or whatever? So you'll fill that out. When there's personal property, you want to list it. Now, operation like that, there might be a lot, or there might be very little. If it's a lot, just put C attached exhibit.
It means include those personal properties
in the sale.
In business in here.
Exactly, right? So it might be
all the vehicles and
equipment, beds, furniture, whatever, right? So there is a personal property addendum in that library that you can use. So you could say see attached addendum.
Are they considered part of business or personal property?
They're considered personal property, yeah.
If business has those vehicles, they are under the business's name.
The business owns them, but you want to make sure they're included in the transfer. So like a big mistake that people have made is
assuming
they leave that out because it's got the company name on it. Of course, it's included, and then the seller goes, "Hey, you didn't ask for them. Now you want them, you're gonna have to pay more."
Yeah.
Right. So have a, sometimes you don't know what they have, right? So you can say in the negotiation, seller to provide a complete list of personal property, and then attach it, right? You wouldn't have mutual acceptance until you agreed that you had everything listed. Payment terms, you'll be able to figure that out. Payment terms. So the checklist you asked about, right? This is a sort of a presumptive list of exhibits, and all you're going to do is decide which ones apply. Earnest money could be in the form of a promissory note. Promissory note example would be, here's a promissory note for 25 grand, but we're not going to pay it until we clear feasibility. You also could just say earnest money to be deposited upon waiver of feasibility. It's up to you. So if that applies, you'll check that. This promissory note means I'm buying your business and you're going to be the lender. So you're not going to use that.
Oh, if they finance, let's say,
Yeah,
say 20%, I'm going to finance it with this rate. In that case, that 20% is going to go on
promissory note. Okay. Yeah. Most common approach to that is a note and a deed of trust. So the note is the promise to repay. The deed of trust is what creates collateral. So they have a security interest in the property. A UCC is like a deed of trust, but for equipment. So since there's no real estate, if they were going to carry a note, you probably would have a UCC filing to make the equipment the collateral. So if you stop paying, they could take back the equipment. FIRPTA is whether the seller is foreign. Assignment and assumption, we already said we want that. Addendum would be the blank page that we added, right? Financing, we don't expect to need, right? Because you're playing in cash. Defeasance doesn't apply to you. Business opportunity, real estate addendum. So that would be if there was real estate. So that doesn't apply. You don't have to put addendum down here, but if you had something else you wanted to add, you could definitely add it. All right. No liquor or gaming license applies, right? So remember, this time frame is what period of time. You and Alan have a list of questions in your heads, right? How much time would you need to get the answers to your questions to where you're satisfied and want to close?
15 days.
15. So just think that through. There's certainly occasions where you extend the feasibility, but there's no guarantee the seller will agree to extend. So you kind of want it to be as accurate as you can. Books and records, you definitely want that. So for the rest of you, when you buy a business or a commercial building, you're buying a commercial building basically is a business. So you need to see the financials to see how profitable it is, because that's what drives market value. So in this case, there's no real estate, but it's still a business. So he wants to see, are they making money? Are they losing money? He's buying an income stream, basically. Right? Within 10 days of mutual, seller and buyer shall agree in writing on a preliminary inventory setting forth the count and assigned unit values of business inventory. So, hey, Jackie, it depends on what they have, right? A good analogy would be like a restaurant. Well, today what they have in inventory is going to be different from what they have in the closing days. So we have to kind of pick a day that we're going to just say, okay, this is the inventory, and we all agree that that's what's being transferred. So depending on the nature of the business and what they have, you're going to do the same thing, potentially. Possession more than likely is going to be upon closing, but you could alter that if you wanted. Closing, you're going to determine how fast. If you're 15-day feasibility and you're paying with cash, 30 days or sooner might be appropriate language, but that's up to you guys.
And then during that time, that 30 days plus that 15 days, the revenue and income goes to the previous owner,
to the seller, not the
buyer.
buyer. Yeah. So the revenues will start coming to you the day you close.
Okay.
Right. And that might affect what you want for a closing date.
Yeah,
You know, if
that's
if it's cyclical in nature, you definitely want to be considerate of that. It's like when you buy a multifamily, you want to close before the rents start arriving
That's right.
on the next first of the month. Agency disclosure. So you're going to list yourself and Hometown Advisor as the selling broker.
Okay, selling broker.
Yeah.
It's going to be my name and.
Yeah. So you're going to put Hometown Advisor Real Estate as the selling broker, and then you as the representative, right? And then is it listed now?
Yes.
Okay, so you fill in that guy or gal.
I have a question regarding this. I'm going to come back. I just got an email.
Okay. Assignment. So this would be if you wanted to tie it up and then maybe assign it to somebody. So if you have no intention of doing that, I would mark may not, because it makes your offer stronger.
Yeah, it means I'm buying, but I'm going to sell it to someone else or give it to someone else.
Right.
Okay.
Now, you definitely could put it in the name of Reza and Alan and say, yeah, we're going to assign it, because prior to closing, we're going to form a new LLC and we're going to assign it into that LLC.
Okay.
That would be appropriate. Yeah. So I'll leave this unchecked while you guys decide on that. And you just want to make sure you explain to the listing broker that we're not trying to steal it and assign it to somebody and take a finder's fee. We just want to set up an LLC, and that's common. Default, your presumption in really anything real estate related is the earnest money is presumed to be liquidated damages. So you never want to give the seller the ability to sue you, right? Acceptance, that just talks about how much time they have to respond. This is how much they're paying, right? I don't know how much is being offered, but make sure you put the commissions in there.
Okay, so go up, please. Oh. What was the first one? That's a percentage.
Yeah, so this is if there's no written listing agreement, seller agrees to pay a commission of blank % of the sales price or blank dollars. The commission shall be apportioned between the listing firm and the selling firm in the specified listing agreement. This listing firm shall pay to selling firm a commission of X. So how much is in the listing? Do you know?
I don't know. That's why.
So an example would be maybe it's 5% and 2.5 of it's going to you, or something like that, right? You can leave this, if it's not listed or you don't know that, you can leave that blank and just make sure this one's not.
Okay.
All right. And then the end of it, you're just filling in who everybody is. So it's pretty explanatory, and you know the deal, so just make sure this reflects the deal.
So the complication comes into listing. So right now, this buy sell is my source because it doesn't show up any other place as a kind of consumer I go and see.
Right.
So it doesn't say what is the commission,
but
it says the listing agency, and listing agency in one of the businesses contacted me. He has this too. So I'm not going to share any commission with any broker if you're a broker. So yeah, I'm a broker. So what does it mean? Which means that
he's not a listing broker?
He says he is.
Okay, then he already has an agreement with the seller of what he's going to get paid. And it's probably double what you're going to get paid, right? The traditional approach is, hey, seller, let's agree to 5 or 6%, of which I'm going to share half of it should the buyer come along and have an agent.
Yeah.
Right? This form allows for you as the buyer's broker to not be aware of what that amount is and just fill in your amount. And you're basically saying, we're not going to proceed unless you pay me 2.5 or 3. I mean, you can put whatever number you want. And if they say, well, we're not willing to pay that much, but we'll counter you, then it's just a counter.
Okay. So now the question here is that maybe he has listed this business under his name, but he's trying to act as a buying agent. Where can I get that listing, original listing? That says this is the commission.
You can look.
The listing agent.
You can look in this site.
Okay, CPA.
You can look in the Northwest MLS has business opportunities. There aren't many, but I would go there. SEBA has more, and then there's a company called LoopNet.
LoopNet,
yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not in it, where did you find it?
It's biz buy sell.
That's part of LoopNet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you listing number. It doesn't give you.
Yeah. That's all right. He's paying to market it through biz buy sell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the LoopNet. You can put stuff on for free.
Okay.
But its exposure is limited.
Yeah.
If it's a business opportunity, it'll direct you to biz buy sell, and then you got to pay. But it's worth it if you're trying to sell a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's not trying to represent the buyer, and your offer is going to dictate who represents whom, right? You're going to put, Reza and Allen's LLC is represented by Reza of Hometown Advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, dude. You're out. But if he's the listing broker, he'll be on the other side representing the seller.
Okay, so I need to find the name of listing broker. He's not. So that's.
You don't think he is? You just think he's fishing.
He's fishing. Somebody else is listing. They put it there and they put their names to earn business.
But if it's in biz buy sell, isn't it showing who the listing broker is?
It says contact seller, and this is the agent. That's all it says. If you go there, let's look at one of these businesses. And then that's the confusing part.
I got to make sure I'm not running into another appointment. I'm good.
Okay, let's go to Washington, King County.
King.
Looking for information. I'm fishing.
Okay.
How about price?
Price at 100 to million.
She's looking.
And then go to business categories. Let's say, for example, go to services, healthcare. Yeah.
Healthcare and fitness? Okay. Actually, we don't have to look at your specific one.
Yeah.
If you want to kind of keep that guarded.
Yeah. Okay. So when you fill out this form, it's like Redfin, I guess.
Yeah. So this is just an open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at it, there's no listing number. There's no listing agency.
The information in this listing has been provided by the business seller or representative stated above.
So if they don't post it, would you just randomly pick in what you want your portion of the commission to be? The heck with what they have it.
He is the listing broker. Business listed by John Clark.
And then can he say, no, I'm not gonna share any of my commission with you?
No.
He cannot.
Well, he can say that all he wants.
Yeah.
But in the end, you're providing an agreement that says my buyer will buy this if you pay this commission to the selling firm.
Yeah.
Approve or deny it, right?
Okay.
Did he say that he's not?
I'll forward the email to you.
Really?
Yeah, and I was shocked.
Did he know you were a broker?
Yeah, I disclosed it.
Huh.
I said, are you a broker? Yes, I am a broker, and this is my number. And he said, no, I'm not willing to have co-broker.
Yeah, that's too bad. He's not going to sell his listing then.
So do you approach it by writing in, you would write in your portion of the commission and the heck with what
But
he
right
said?
now, he doesn't disclose any information to us.
So would you
He's
just
holding
assume
back all the tax return and everything.
he has to by law present your offer,
Right.
correct?
So
So
submit,
writing
you
your
submit
portion
your
of the
offer.
commission?
But we don't know the financial details.
Wasn't there a financial information listed in there? Wasn't there?
So your offer is subject to review of the records, right? That was one of the boxes we checked.
But we don't know where this business resides.
Oh, it's all
What the
undisclosed?
value of it is. In other words, if it's 800,000.
Yeah, but then they don't say what is the address of this business. It doesn't, that's why he just stopped me there. So,
We can try and figure it out.
yeah,
The seller's not going to be too happy
they're
that,
happy, exactly.
right,
There's a buyer, and then because you're trying to
Right.
get all the commission, you are not selling my property or my business.
right. Like,
So you can contact
I know
seller.
this isn't the
Can you
same one.
contact seller?
Yeah, he did that and he got a call from that idiot.
Interesting. So you don't, what don't?
I went and I looked it up, but there are 4 or 5 of similar businesses, and I said, hey, it's illegal for me to contact the business owner directly, correct? We have to go
No.
through the.
Well, it's an MLS violation, but this isn't through the MLS. So the law says that any offer has to be submitted to the seller within 24 hours. So if I were you, I would submit an offer. I understand that there's even more questions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I would submit an offer based on what I know.
Okay,
Do you know what the list price is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just offer the list price
okay.
and then renegotiate the price once I get answers to my questions.
Oh,
Because then I can send it to him, and then I call him the next day and say, have you submitted it to the seller? And he said, no, I told you, we're not doing anything that includes a co-broker. And say, well, the DOL is going to want to know that you're not complying with the law.
Mhm.
So are you going to submit it today or am I?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
The commercial broker, like Avatar, they operate on a completely different level. They're not always the most ethical.
Yeah.
It's really a shame because I don't mean to speak ill. I have lots of friends that do commercial and they're wonderfully ethical. But there's this old boys network of, you want to play ball, you're going to have to do it our way. Well, I don't take kindly to that.
Yeah.
So did you get what you needed?
I did.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm in here every day at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So if you need more help, like you're going to go work on this and get some answers.
For this problem, we're going to do some arm wrestling. This is this one, and there's another one.
Yeah.
That broker hasn't told me anything. But this is the smaller one.
Yeah.
So.
You're going to use the same forms.
Yeah.
Just copy them and fill them out differently for one versus the other.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
So Chris, I'm now going to read your text messages.
It's,
Oh, I saw Jackie's head.
Could you please send me the recording, stop the recording?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for reminding me.